Come on in, everybody. You are looking live to tape at our NASCAR.com world headquarters. This right here is Green-White-Checkered finish. My name is Beau Estes, and this is a well-caffeinated Mike Bell. How you doing, Mike?
Woo, you betcha. And hey, guys, you're part of the show. We take the three biggest stories from the racing weekend down at Daytona, and your takes on those big stories right there on the bottom of the screen.
Mike, we're going to start off with an earlier part of the weekend in Daytona. We're talking nationwide. Kurt Busch, in a car that was held together by duct tape, apparently, gets the victory. My question to you, is this more impressive than his third-place finish at Sonoma? Which one do you like better?
Well, we know this guy can make lefts and rights. What blew me away is, look at his car. It's tore up. I mean, that's not like an incidental piece of contact. I mean, that car got whooped up on. And the great pumpkin returns. Remember Charlie Brown and Peanuts?
Yes.
The idea that Phoenix Racing, which has no sponsorship on this deal, they can barely pay for the guys to turn the lug nuts, and Kurt Busch gets a win. What an up and down, like, couple of years it's been. He's his own worst enemy, but here he shows you why he still has the talent to be driving in an elite series like the Sprint Cup, not just in Nationwide, and be competitive as he was at Sonoma.
My take on it, both performances were very patient. That's something Kurt Busch needs. In some cases, his talent gets a little bit overlooked because of his supernova of a little brother, Kyle Busch. It's always tough to be compared to Kyle, but I'll go with one of the fans' comments. It's Scott Suchin. He says, the Daytona performance is better. On an aero-dependent track like Daytona, it takes something special to make a damaged car competitive, let alone win with it, and I sort of buy into that.
And for all the things that Kurt Busch has been accused of and things he's done and gotten yelled at for, remember, he was a good teammate and pushed Ryan Newman to victory in the Daytona 500 when he was still driving for Penske back in the day. He knows how to work with other cars, despite the fact that you think no one would want to work with Kurt Busch at Daytona in the Nationwide. What an impressive victory for him.
All right, Mike, we're going to move on to our white flag topic. At Daytona on Saturday night, 12 lead changes. That brings us to our topic. Which do you prefer, the tandem racing that nobody seemed to love, or what we're seeing here where the cars overheat if they get too close together and there's no passing and it's sort of a parade of billboards for a few hours?
All right, I will say C, none of the above, and go with my option. The late Dale Earnhardt said it, and I know a lot of old school guys said it. You're never going to get a restricted plate race which is going to make everybody happy.
Sure.
Look at all the empty seats, nobody on the back grandstands. Why don't you push the fans back another 50 feet, put the fence higher, take the restrictor plates off. Put a giant anvil or giant wing from the World of Outlaws on the roof of the car if you got to slow them down. But let these guys pass. Restrictor plate racing has always been, you know, sort of the best solution we could come up with since the Bobby Allison accident. This is horrible. Nobody wants to see the 2x2 nonsense, and nobody wants to see cars just driving in packs because you're going to get the big wreck and half the stars are going to get taken out. Take the plates off.
It's awful. It's absolutely, it was terrible. If I'm forced to choose, it's the tandem racing because at least we have passing. If I'm forced to choose between those two. Now, my fan comment, I'm going to go with my stepfather, who was down at Daytona when they started the whole thing. He's in his 70s.
Hey, Paul.
I asked Glenn Reese, I said, what do you think? He said, boring until the very end. If you can't please Glenn, you're not going to please anybody with this NASCAR stuff. So my solution, it's next year. Guess what's next year? The new car of tomorrow. Get that one right. Get the aero right. Get R&D right on that one. And I think all the problems are solved.
Man, you got fuel injection. I mean, they've come a long way with NASCAR. Take the plates off. There's got to be some way somebody smarter than you or I can figure out how to get us a better quality of racing at the super speedways.
You know what was exciting at Daytona?
What's that?
The very end. That brings us to our checkered finish. Tony Stewart, your winner down in Daytona. My question to you, he has won 18 times down there, but never, ever a Daytona 500. My question to you, will we get it done? Will we get it done?
Well, don't forget the late Dale Earnhardt went 20 races before we finally got it done back in 1998.
Yep.
And much like Dale Earnhardt, Tony's won everything but the Daytona 500. This is his fourth win in the July race. Dale Sr. had won twice, of course, on July 4th, and won everything in the dual races, the twin races, etc. So I think it's just a matter of time. The problem, though, for this kind of racing is the vagaries of it. Because you can go from last to first, and Tony did a fantastic job just doing that. But then you've got clowns like Derek Cope and Michael Waltrip who won this
Trevor
race
Bayne's got to win in this.
I mean, Ward Burton has won this
Yes.
race. I mean, it doesn't always favor the guys technically who are the most talented drivers. Mark Martin never won this, but unlike Mark Martin, we know if it comes down to it, Tony will put somebody in the wall to win the Daytona 500. Might not happen next year, but it will happen sometime.
It's a roll of the dice, but my question is, how many more times do you think he realistically is competitive in this? At most, maybe 10? 10 more years,
Yeah, I think you're
51,
being
something
generous,
like that. So 1 in 10, perhaps. He's got 10 more shots. I don't know that he gets it done. Remember, Dale Earnhardt Sr. was 46 when he won it. That was really late in his career. So that would give him 5 more shots. I'm going to have to say, if forced to choose, I say no to Tony Stewart ever winning this thing.
Like I said, I like Mark Martin. This guy will do what it takes to get it done to win that Daytona 500.
Okay, he goes yes. I go no. Let's go to my favorite part of the show. Let's put a bow on it right here. And the guys from Hendrick, they didn't win the race on Saturday night, but Sunday morning they were up at the crack of dawn in Charleston for a triathlon. 2 of the Hendrick drivers, Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson. Casey Kane finishes 27 seconds better than Jimmy Johnson, so a win for Casey Kane on Sunday. Nice. Put a bell on it.
For the closing bell, speaking of putting frequent flyer miles on your Gulfstream or Learjet, how about the guys over at Penske? They had a very difficult situation with A.J. Allmendinger getting suspended after Kentucky for drugs, so we had to find another driver. Sam Hornish is doing some TV up in Charlotte. He gets the phone call. What's that? David Caravello has the blog at NASCAR.com about it. We need you down here now. Can somebody catch the fire suit? He's in the plane. They get the police escort from Daytona Airport, which is right next to the track, and he gets there with 8 minutes to spare, a car he wasn't really fitted well for, couldn't really see everything, the mirrors, the clutch, the whole shebang, but Sam Hornish does a pretty good job under really trying circumstances to put somebody in that 22 car.
Very cool stuff from Sam Hornish Jr., and in Sam Hornish Jr. style, he blew a tire out there. So bad luck for Sam Hornish Jr. in the end, but it was an amazing performance from him. It's an amazing performance from him. Mike Bell, well done, sir. My name's Beau Estes. We thank you for watching Green-White-Checkered Fitness.